Stay tuned for a hearty helping of wonderfully umami-packed ramen, a surprising and incredibly tender chunk of torocha rice worth the price of the entire meal alone, and a golden egg? How intriguing! The theme of this week's bowl was gold. Everything had an essence of gold about it. Prior to eating, I thought it might be a bit gimmicky, but actually the entire meal really hit that gold standard. Let's look at why. Every ramen bowl starts with that first sip. This moment is a very telling part of the ramen journey, and first impressions really last with ramen. Thankfully, this broth knocked it out of the park, and I knew straight away I was in for a good time. The flavors of this bowl were rich, punchy, and had a deep chicken base, made with premium chicken from Yamagata. Combining this rich broth with a fusion of salt and shoyu gave a brilliantly complex broth that excelled from the first sip test and continued to impress from start to finish. It's no secret that I absolutely live for temomi noodles. These richly flavored bowls really put the focus on the springiness of those hand-pressed noodles, and I could not get enough of their chewy goodness this week. These were fantastic noodles, and I really hope everyone gets a chance to try them. This bowl really featured some premium ingredients. The chicken slices on top were amazingly juicy, tender, and had a subtle smokiness that was very much emphasized by those salty and chicken flavors found in the broth. This brings me on to the first little surprise of this bowl, the kinkan. Immediately, I was reminded of a common dish in Japan called oyakodon, literally parent and child rice bowl. Named as such due to the dish featuring both chicken and egg, a parent and child. This little golden ball at first glance looks just like a normal egg yolk, but it is actually harvested earlier in its development, so it is essentially an underdeveloped egg. It's kind of a delicacy in parts of Japan, and a more premium ingredient for sure. Honestly, it was just like a hard-boiled yolk from a normal egg, but perhaps a little tougher. It is required that you eat this alongside a healthy helping of broth. Otherwise, it would be a touch too dry, but with the broth, it was a lovely little golden nugget that I was glad to have eaten. Interestingly, this was not the only egg I ate in this meal. The second of my eggs was an incredible sakura-infused egg. Yamagata Prefecture is famous for its cherry blossoms, with some of the most famous places in the country to see sakura being in Yamagata. This leads to sakura being representative of the area. Even the aforementioned chicken that served as a base for the broth is called sakurambo chicken, as cherries are part of its diet. The sakura egg was lovely and sweet. I actually ate another one of these off camera while recording some other footage because I loved it so much. It was a delicately boiled pink egg that had some great flavors absorbed from those sakura oils that gave it a great sweety taste. This was the torocha meshi, a lovely and thick chunk of braised pork cooked over 3 days. Everyone I spoke to about this kept saying puru puru and shaking the bowl of pork, so the jelly-like properties were clearly appreciated by the customers. This pork alone was already delicious, but partway through I added a mixed raw egg and some mayonnaise. This was sublime. I absolutely loved this combination. The smoky and meaty flavors of the pork with the sliminess of the egg and the slight tang of the mayonnaise. What an experience this was for the palate. I loved it. Rounding off my bowl, I was given a golden egg. This was a kunsei golden egg, meaning it was smoked for a few days, and those smoky flavors came through really well. The smoking process happens with the shell still on, and the shell is then covered in a shiny gold coating. A very unique concept, but the golden exterior is purely a visual flair. The concept of gold was throughout this entire meal. Literally everything I ate started or ended up with some kind of golden essence, and thankfully the flavors held up to that rich image, and the entire meal was well deserving of a gold star.
山形県新庄市からやってまいりました新春屋半田と申します。今現在金の鳥中華、新ちゃんラーメン、あと地元の味噌を使った味噌ラーメンをやっております。さくらんぼで有名な山形に本店を構えております。山形新幹線で 最終駅まで来ていただけると駅から徒歩3分ぐらいで、新春屋に着きますので、ぜひ皆さん世界各国から遊びに来てください。当店のラーメンは非常に熱いです。やけどに十分注意して食べてください。お待ちしております。
一番好きな色は何でしょうか？
一番好きな色はゴールドです。金です。金、あれこれいいな。一番好きな色はゴールドです。金です。ぜひ食べに来てください。